I spotted these styrofoam pumpkins. So I'm going to come in with some Krylon primer spray paint, and I'm going to give these a very light coat. And then I took them back inside and I took some acrylic paint to cover these pumpkins. I next came in with this pickling white wax from Dixie Belle just in the indent lines. I also went over with a darker orange in the indent lines on some of the pumpkins. I'm going to take this dowel and I'm going to poke it down through the pumpkin. Then I'm just going to begin poking on my other pumpkins as well. Then I'm going to take this rustic bucket. I'm going to weigh it down with a rock, put some paper in, and then I'm going to push a styrofoam ball in there, and I'm going to push the end of the dowel into the styrofoam ball. I'm going to shove in some of this natural looking grass here, and then I'm also going to paint some of the stems of the pumpkins and stick them back in, and I'm going to decorate the tops of the pumpkins as well. I also made a little sign here for the top, and this is the finished look here. This looks so cute on my porch, and I'm so happy with how it turned out.
I wanted to cut off the corners of this big hunk of styrofoam, but I'm going to wedge this all the way down. We're going to start with some fresh plants. Then back here, I picked a couple of mums, and I had some scraps of towel rods, some beautiful silk leaves, and push these down in the middle of my styrofoam here. I have things like pumpkins that we're going to add. So I just picked up things that I thought were nice for fall and nice color, but would raise up above. And I had one of these inexpensive chain leaf garlands left, so I'm just going to cut it apart and add some of these. Here is my beautiful urn, and it just adds so much down here at the bottom of my steps. We're going to cut these into, I have a 6-foot piece of wood trim. Use low temp glue and hot glue these on. What I'm going to do is take it and lay it on top of the styrofoam. 2 pipe cleaners, hook them together. I am going to wrap these around the wood and the garland. And then we're just going to take it and tighten it really tight. And then we'll come back and cut those off. And this is what you have now. I have gathered a selection of fall leaves and foliage, and we're just going to build this up with foliage now. So I'm going to take my fruit, I'm going to cut these skewers so it's a little shorter, and I'm going to start to add fruit to styrofoam. So I have my little hook right here that I made. Yes. I'm going to use these kind of command strips. You're going to hook 2 of these together, them really tight, and then you're going to peel off to expose the sticky side. So we're going to stick this right on the back of the wood. And now we're just going to press that right against the door frame. The entire front door is all finished with these beautiful pieces down the side and a wreath and a part over the top to match.
So I grabbed this tomato cage and I took some Bare Premium Black Matte spray paint, and I took it outside and I spray painted just the vertical poles of the tomato cage. Once the spray paint was fully dry and I cut off the top portion of my tomato cage, I then came in with some very heavy jute twine. You just start at one spot on the circle and you just lay your jute twine over top and hold it there until the hot glue sets. Once the hot glue sets, you just take the jute twine and you wrap it all around the circle. And then I just finish it off by securing it with a bit of hot glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process on the other side of the tomato cage. This is my finished tomato cage plant stand. I actually made 2 to have an elevated look for my fall moms and my fall porch.
I'm going to take the corners and I'm just going to cut them with my wire cutters, just like that. So we've cut that in 2. And then we're going to go to the opposite corner and we're going to cut it one more time. And now we have 2 equal pieces. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to attach the wire over top of this oak leaf. So I'm going to take my wires and poke them right down in the foam. There we have something to begin to build up. But I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of these to my styrofoam. You don't have a stiff enough stem. You're going to take inexpensive wood skewer, lay it right next to the stem, and then I'm going to take some floral tape, wrap it around the stem and around the wood skewer. I can trim it longer, like so, and have it come way down there. So that's how you're going to add things to your foam. I'm going to go ahead and continue to build this up. These tend to slide out, so you're going to want to add just a little bit of hot glue to secure that so that it does not come out. So don't be afraid to use your hot glue to attach things. I like to use these command hooks where the back slides off of them, and I would suggest that you use these. I stuck that up there, and all I have to do is lift this up and hook it right on that little hook. So here's the front door, my wreath, and the lovely corners that frame the upper edge of my door. The very first thing I do is pick up my artificial pumpkin and I paint them. I need to draw a face on it, and now I am going to use my Versatool, which is like a hot knife, to go ahead and cut out my shapes. I'm going to add the black paint. So this is all the pumpkins that I have done. We're going to take each one of the jack-o'-lanterns and drill a hole at the top and the bottom. After they're drilled on, we just slide each jack-o'-lantern right up the pole. And then we take another piece of the pool noodle and we slide that right over the PVC. So I have fired up the glue gun. We are going to take these leaves that we are just going to cover these. We just slide the smaller PVC pole into the bigger one, and voila! Now I have finished the cross piece, and my dear husband is going to climb up and put it up there. The piece of PVC just slides right into that elbow. You cut the hole in the bottom and you feed the lights through, and then you cut the hole in the top and then you pull the lights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff some plastic shopping bags down inside. I have gotten some Spanish moss that I'm going to drape out here. Here is our jack-o'-lantern arch during the day, all set and ready for nighttime to come.
I have one of those foam crafting pumpkins, and I want to make a hole in the top of this one and also in the bottom. Smaller pumpkin, and I'm going to cut a hole in the bottom. I have my drill and I have a longer drill bit on it, and I'm gonna just drill some holes around each of the pumpkins. And I'm just taking a small amount of brown paint and I'm just following the ridges of the pumpkin. I'm taking a small string of Christmas lights. I'm gonna pop some in there, and then I'm just gonna put the whole thing into the top of the middle pumpkin and run it out the bottom. Now I'm gonna glue the pumpkins together. And now I'm gonna add a stem. I cut some bittersweet vine from my backyard, and I'm just gonna wrap it around the sections of the pumpkins. And here's our little pumpkin topiaries at night.